Alaikum everyone, and hope everyone's having a great Ramadan. Um, I love these days, these nights. They're just really amazing. So overall, I just want to start by really just thanking everyone for tuning in on a daily level, and the feedback has just been amazing. It's been awesome. I promise I'm going to do my best to get you whatever information I have. It might, in terms of why I've gone through my experiences, my years, and try to, build that mental toughness, get you to be a little stronger and get you to be somewhat mentally tough, build that mental muscle and kind of take yourself to the next level. So if you've been tuning in, the first night we really talked about the essence of what it takes to be that person that can take things to the next level. And we talked about discipline and self-discipline, what that means. I'll give you something very simple that Imam Ali alayhi salam says about self-discipline. He says, al-amali bin-nashati wal-kasal, to do what I have to do, whether I feel like it or not. If I'm lazy or I'm energized, I still have to do what I have to do. So we talked about that the first night. Second night, we talked about self-confidence and how that's built. We went from self-efficacy to self-confidence and how those connect to self-esteem. And we gave an equation. If you missed that one, really go back and really take a look at that one, because that has a lot more to it, but it's a great starting ground for you to understand how you work as a human being. Tonight, I want to take us through the mix, maybe in the next couple nights. Tonight, I want to talk to you about more a cognitive aspect, the cognitive narrative, and getting yourself to the next level in terms of how do I think. There's 4 components you're going to walk out with. Again, I see people, thank you so much for sharing your notes. It's like people are sending me their notes and I keep asking people, please take notes, write, do that. Please go ahead and do so. And share this stuff with other people, because guys, as I was growing and I was moving in terms of these things, someone took me underneath their wing and they did what they needed to do in terms of getting me the information, and I was willing to listen. Please have the student mentality. These nights are very precious, and take yourself to the next stage. So the next 2 nights, I'm going to talk first. Tonight, I'm going to talk to you about a cognitive aspect. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk to you about an emotional intelligence and how those two work. So I'm going to talk to you about the neocortex, and then I'm going to talk to you about the limbic system and how that works and how they actually work together. So we're going to go back and forth in terms of that, but today is about mental, tomorrow is about emotional. Then after that, the next night, so the next 3 nights, please, if you're watching right now, don't miss the next 2 nights, because there's going to be a connection. There's going to be connections in terms of those 3 presentations. Mental toughness tonight, emotional intelligence tomorrow, and after that, the building of character and how you get yourself to the next stage. And in that one, if you miss any one of these, it's going to be a little tough, but it's okay. If you're going to miss tonight, tomorrow, but don't miss the 3rd night, because that one is really special in terms of understanding how to gain courage and how to push yourself to the next stage. Before I start tonight, I want to try to do something. And guys, if I forget, please remind me. But I'm going to try to give you a book a night so you can read. And these are some of the books that have affected me tremendously. And this book I always recommend to anybody who's starting. It's a manual for thinking, and you have to revisit it over and over and over. It's a 15-year Harvard study. 3 professors put this together. Imagine spending 15 years collecting information, then putting it in a book for you. That's an amazing concept when you really think about it. So the book is, I'm going to hold off to the end and I'll show you. So watch the whole thing. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. So on that level, the book is Difficult Conversations. Okay. This is a tremendous book. If you can get this book and read it, basically it's got 3 conversations. Though pretty much the identity conversation, the what happened conversation, and the It's not coming to me. But okay, and the third one is the identity conversation, the what happened conversation, and the personal conversation. So on that level, when you start going through this, you're going to get yourself to really an amazing aspect in terms of communication. This is a top communication book. So get that book if you can, and let's move from there. So let's build that mental muscle and get ourselves to the next stage. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. Brothers and sisters, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And tonight, please pay attention to just the construct and what you need to focus on in terms of these things. And I'm going to take you through, I have about maybe 2-3 slides, but they're going to be packed with information. So again, take some good notes. Take good notes in terms of how to build yourself, because at the end of the day, what we're doing ultimately is always building ourselves from the inside out. Remember this, the outside world is a testing ground for the inside world. So whatever you learn, you're going to test it on the outside. Your belief structure will get tested by challenges from the outside world. That's how it works. So let's build the inside, then test it to the outside. All right, guys. So number one is mental toughness. What is mental toughness? What is a person who has mental toughness? What are they going to be able to do? Okay, a person's ability to what? So there's 4 in here, and I want you to really take these down and really think about them. I'm going to go into each one just a little bit, then kind of we'll move forward in terms of giving you the 4 components of what it requires. What are the 4 components that are required to be mentally tough, to be someone who's resilient, to someone who doesn't stop, someone who takes on life and they're literally moving towards complete freedom. When you take on life, you're moving towards freedom, and you become euphoric once you beat life over and over and over and over again. It's amazing what happens to you when you learn that process. And I'll give you guys an analogy in the middle of the presentation. All right, so the first thing you have to do is be focused. Focus is everything. Guys, take this down, please. If you don't understand that your mind, if you don't aim your mind, it will take you anywhere. Any road, if you don't have direction, any road will get you there. So your mind needs to be aimed at something. It's built that way. If you don't take the reins and point your mind towards a direction where you want it to go, it will literally get you lost. You will find yourself in the ditch all the time. So focus is absolutely necessary for you to be able to be mentally focused on something that creates that resiliency. I'm going to get this regardless of what happens. I'm going to beat this challenge. Okay, so that's the first aspect. Second one, okay, these people, when you become mentally tough, I really want you to understand this, okay? They rebound from failure. What does that mean, rebounding from failure? When you rebound from failure, it's a lot of people, one of the main causes of us not feeling to the top of what we should be feeling is we don't know how to deal with failure. Failure, when you hit failure, understand it's this, okay? Failure is a necessity, but please, I'm going to give you an analogy and you need to understand that when failure happens, you have to understand where the failure is happening. So in future presentations, I'm going to give you the difference between process, performance, and outcome goals, and how you need to set those intact. But I'm going to give you an analogy, how you really never fail. Failure is part of success. It's just a building block. Your mind needs time to build a habit. You can't just turn on your mind and say, you know what, program this, I'm just going to move forward and download it in one step. It's not going to work. Okay, so I'm going to use an analogy to give you guys an understanding of how it works. That in one part, it looks like you failed, but in another, you're not really failing. Here's how you deal with that and think about it, how you should be thinking about it. So when you look at a baby trying to walk, it stands up, it balances itself, then it falls. Then it rebounds from failure. But did it really fail? Let me show you how it didn't fail. When you look at the outcome, meaning the result, when it's trying to walk and it fails, not perfecting the walking, means it can't walk yet. So it tried and it failed. It can't walk yet. That's an outcome you're looking at, that it hasn't mastered it. That's an outcome. When you look through the lens of an outcome that it can't walk yet, sure, it may look like failure. It is failure because it hasn't succeeded in terms of mastering the process. But what happens when you actually look at the process, not the outcome? It's trying to master the process. So what happens in the brain is this. The brain has earned one more calibration of the muscles. Every time it tries, it has succeeded in earning a calibration. So it calibrates the muscles. There's a signal that's sent from the muscles to the brain and from the brain to the muscles, and they're calibrating each other. So every time it tries, it actually has won. So it succeeds in the process, in building the process. One more step. So when you're working out, you don't just get immediate results because the body requires a certain amount of time to get results. The brain requires a certain amount of time to get results. Same thing. That's how it works. So if you fail in the end result, it's a long-term perspective. You haven't failed yet because you haven't mastered it, because it needs time. So you don't go in and get a grade from the beginning of the semester. You earn the grade 3 months later, but you have to go through the process of studying, then the performance of the tests, and see to check your study process. And then you get the performance aspect of the exams. Then the combination of the exams give you a final score. So it's a process. Once you're mastering the process, there is no such thing as failure. So people, when they don't understand that, when they get hit by life, they don't know how to deal with it. Guys, just today, I got a call. It was suicidal, like a suicide call. And it's amazing when you get someone on the phone and it's how it changes your whole perspective on life. When they're about to do something that's the ultimate self-hate. And there's a lot of people like this now. Suicide rates have exceeded homicide rates. It equaled out in 2012, and now it's actually past it, where people rather kill themselves than live. This is not the best time to be living in if you don't like yourself. So there's a lot of people who are like that. And if you are like that, seek help. Understand there's a way out. There's always something great on the other side. You just got to learn how to look at life in a different direction, in a different way, and take a different direction in life. So when you understand how failure works, you'll look at it as something that's propelling you. It's not bringing you down. Okay, so I'm just going to leave it at that, and I'm not going to go into it any further, but really think about that one. Okay, the other thing, they cope with pressure. What does that mean? When everything is on the line. Let's say you're a person that can take the last shot in the game. You can cope with pressure. Pressure is a lot of responsibility that is put on your shoulders, and you have to walk sometimes on razor blades while carrying that pressure. That's not easy. Think of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. When he's called out to reach his maximum potential, Imam Hussein alayhi salam's own maximum potential, he had to go through Karbala. Regardless of what would happen to him, his cause is greater than the value of his life. That means his principles are intact. He stands up and he's committed no matter what. No matter what I have to sacrifice, no matter who I am, my principle succeeds anything else. That's strength, that's power. That's being able to stand in front of a challenge that's monumentous. It's bigger than anything that anyone can handle. That's why Imam Hussein alayhi salam, almost 1400 years later, has millions of people visiting him. Why do they visit Imam Hussein alayhi salam? It's because of principle. His principles live on. His cause lives on. Be and know your cause, your why. And your why has to be greater than you. Your cause has to be greater than you in terms of value. It has to exceed you as a person. That's what cause is. That's pressure. When you come and you build yourself slowly, you can deal with larger amounts of pressure. You can deal with responsibility at a greater level. And then even when it comes down to your life, you're willing to put your life on the line for your cause. That's a why. That's what you want. That's the flag you want to stand under as a person. That's how it works. So these people, when you are mentally tough, this is what causes, this is what you have the ability to do. You can cope with pressure. You can rebound from failure. And you have a tenacity for focus. And you're just like, you're obsessed. It's obsessive in terms of what you're trying to do. Last thing, okay, determination to persist in the face of what? It's right there in front of you guys. And they're mentally resilient. It's incredible. When adversity hits, it's incredible. Okay? Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says there's 3 types of patience. الصبر على الطاعة, الصبر عند المعصية, والصبر على النائبة. So he says to have patience when you are what? Actually about to commit a sin. You have to be able to pull back on that mental muscle so you don't commit the sin. There's a patience that's there. Then there's a second level. He talks about to be patient when you're fasting, let's say, to actually do what Allah has commanded you to do. Look what how patient you have to be today, just not to break your fast. You may look at food and may be tempting, but to some of us, man, mashallah, some of us in terms of food doesn't even bother you. You're reaping the benefits of the day. You're reaping the benefits of what's happening to you on a second to second level. And you're taking in every moment of Ramadan. So on that level, that's how it works. They are resilient. They're mentally resilient. You're not going to stop me. Whatever the challenge is, you're not going to stop me. And guys, I want you to take this analogy. I want you to think problems are like the waves of an ocean. Issues are like the waves of an ocean. You always have to what? Be solving problems. You were created to solve problems. The first problem that you've ever had was when you first came out of your mother's womb. You had to breathe. That was your first responsibility. Second responsibility is try to find some milk. Third, who's my mother? Try to attach. There's an attachment factor. And it just keeps going and going and going and going. That's how it works. So responsibility is like that. And it will never leave you alone. So you better learn how to take it on. So it's like waves of an ocean. But when you're so determined, you get to a point where the waves are not small anymore. They're actually what? Tremendously big. And when the ocean comes alive, I've been on a cruise where in a hurricane actually was maybe 100 miles away. And when the sea came alive, it's amazing what was doing to the ship. But ultimately, what happens when that wave becomes huge? It's got so much power and strength. Some of us, while everybody would be running away from that wave, some of us actually are looking for those waves. Imagine the surfer that goes out in the middle of the ocean and he tackles the wave. No fear, determination. They're enjoying, and it's like a dance with life. And it's harmonious. You're on a small little board and this enormous power that's all around you, but you can survive. That's how you have to be as a person. You have to take that on. You have to dance with life and you have to enjoy it. It becomes euphoric. When you take on your responsibilities in life and you just dominate them, your strength, mental strength, becomes something unbelievable. Your resilience, you will test yourself to points where people will not test themselves. And you will push. You're not afraid of a stage. Imagine how many people are just afraid to speak. It's actually more terrifying, I think some studies show, than death for some people. Some people are just so afraid to speak. I remember when I first started speaking, that was like a speech class in high school. I remember the backs of my knees were like sweating. They were shaking. That's how terrifying it is. But you overcome that. Now, I think for one semester, and I'll share this with you guys, but for one semester, I think in high school, I don't think I said one word to like one person in the whole, like, and then after I just kind of came out of my shell and started talking. And now you can't get me to stop talking. But it's that just the ability to kind of press forward. And no matter what is happening around you, you can push on to the next stage. Okay, guys, next on those 4 factors, next I want to show you what it means to have mental toughness. What are the 4 main components? These are what people's abilities, okay? A person's ability to what? Focus, rebound from failure, cope with pressure, and they are strictly determined on what they want. They can get it. So right now, what I want you to do before I move forward, put something, just one thing, guys, just one thing. Put something for yourself as a person, okay? Something for yourself as a person. And one thing you want to accomplish. And I'm going to take you through a system, not today, maybe probably next week. A system of how to make some really amazing goals. And I'm going to have you pick 7 categories. But that's going to be coming down the line. But what I want you to do right now, just take one thing and ask yourself that you want to change in your life. And ask yourself this question: what is it that I'm doing every day that's really messing my life up? You really want to know who you are? You ask yourself that question, you'll see how fast things will rise to the surface. You'll see how fast that will happen. Just ask yourself that question. What is something that I'm doing? What are the things that I'm doing on a daily level that are really messing up my life? Let's say you drink and you're hiding it. Let's say you smoke and you're hiding it. Let's say you have wrongful relationships. You're hiding that, okay? All of these things, guys, will harm you, guaranteed, if you don't know how to deal with them. I see people destroy their lives, okay? Cocaine, call today, okay? Other aspects in terms of suicide, people are just losing control of who they are. So pick that one thing this month and just go after it. Put it down on a sheet of paper and look at it every single morning and tell yourself, listen, you're my challenge. No one's going to solve you but me. And I'm going to take you on. Do you have that kind of will? Do you have that kind of determination? So do that right now and go from there. And if you need my help in any which way, I'll be more than happy to give you guys some of the information, or you can contact me. There's on my website, you can go there. There's my phone number and my email. If you need help there, I'm more than willing to help you. Now, next part, please pay attention to it. And I'm going to show you the 4 main categories of what becoming mentally tough. All right. So mental toughness. What is it constructed of? Okay. First thing, it's constructed of control. Learning how to have control over your life. And guys, we all in our lives, we all want autonomy, meaning we want to control and be authentic in who we are, meaning authentic in our thoughts and authentic in our emotions. It's part of our survival. We need to have those 2 things. So as we're growing up, we need attachment with another person. Our caretaker, our mother, father, okay, we attach because we need survival. Then as we grow, we need authenticity to who we are. So what happens when those 2 face off against each other? And I'm no longer, I either have to follow what my parents say, or do I become authentic with what's going on with me? That's my cat, guys. Okay. And so from there, what happens on those 2 levels? You start seeing those 2 things in authenticity and following what I want versus what my parents want. Control, we all seek it. We all want it. And I'm going to show you what happens. So here's the next. I'm going to show you what happens on a religious aspect when you learn how to let go of control. So guys, ultimately, the highest level of control is learning how to let go of control. And I'm going to show you how that works. But it's the capacity to feel and act as if one could influence a situation. So what happens when we can't influence a situation? How do we feel? We feel like we can't do anything about it. And there's a tendency, by the way, we go to emotional coping and we start crying. So when someone starts crying, they feel like they can't influence the situation. That's one of the signs of losing control, is tears. Now, what happens here is very important. And you guys gotta understand that. And please, if the cat is distracting you, just let it be, okay? It's just a cat. But on that level, here's what I need you to understand. I want to take you to a small story and I'm going to move forward. And I want you to think of Musa's mother, alayhi salam. And when she as a person was confronted with a tyrant, someone who could not, literally after her son. So I want you to imagine the connection between a mother and an infant and a child. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about when something is so incredible in terms of the attachment aspect. Now, I really want you to think about some of the facts in terms of the story. And the story is in the Quran. If you want to find it, you can. But think about when Musa's mother, alayhi salam, has that attachment with the child. And most people, what would be the same thing to do? To put the child in the open, or to actually what? Put it in the open, or to actually do what with it? To hide it. Most people, most mothers, what would they do? They would hide the child. But once you realize that you can't protect your child and you can't protect the child underneath your own power, what's going to happen? You really got to understand that there's a faith aspect. I'm scared. And she walks up. I want you to think about this. She's walking up to the actual river. She puts the baby in a basket and she walks up to the river. Does she still have control over the baby? Yes, she does. And on the second level is what? She gets to the bank of the river. Now, when she gets to the bank of the river, does she still have control over the baby? Yes, she does. The third level, she puts the baby in the water. And I want you to think about at that moment when she lets go and she actually pushes the baby away. She's saying, Ya Allah, you control everything. I'm underneath your control. This baby is underneath your control. I cannot protect it from the evil that exists in this world, but I know you can. That's the epitome of faith. You having that kind of strength in terms of that belief and that connection to Allah Azza wa Jal. That is security. That's the ultimate security. No one can touch you if you get to that level. Why? Because that security and that safety will not allow anything in terms of fear. When Allah Azza wa Jal says, He says, my universe and my earth cannot contain me except the heart of a believer. The containment of Allah is inside you. His fingerprint in your own heart. He's already there. وَاعْلَمُوا أَنَّ اللَّهَ يَحُولُ بَيْنَ الْمَرْءِ وَقَلْبِهِ. Know that Allah is in between you and your heart. Understand that. That's the ultimate security. Money can't give you security. Your health can't give you security. Nothing on the face of this earth, an attachment to someone else can't give you security. It's only Allah who allows that security to sit in your heart. And security leads to calmness, peacefulness, every other great emotion that you want to feel. That's the security you want to seek. So if there's a void in your heart, plug it in with Allah's security. Why? Because Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, seek security through two things. Patience, as-sabr wal-yaqeen. Patience and certainty. Patience, I just described. Certainty in what? Certainty, understanding that Allah has control over everything. Your problem is something very small and minuscule to Him, that He can remove it at any second. And His mercy encompasses everything. Allahumma inni as'aluka bi rahmatika allati wasi'at kulla shay. I ask you by what? Your mercy that has encompassed everything. Allah has ultimate control. Your job is to submit to His will. And once you do that, and your head goes into sujood, and as soon as it touches the ground, which is your turba, okay? That's the most powerful position on the face of this earth. Why? Because you just expanded your control. You connected your Wi-Fi signal. It's where the finite meets the absolute. When you submit, you don't go down, you actually rise. That's how it works. If you can get your heart to understand that and download that emotional code, what happens in your salah? What happens when you fast? It's euphoric. It's literally euphoric. When you let go of that control, that's taslim. And Allah Azza wa Jal, you're saying, my responsibility, Ya Allah, I cannot handle. I'm putting it back in your hands. And then you have rida in your heart. That Allah, whatever you decide to do, I'm okay with. I'm comfortable with. Whatever the result is. Imam Hussein alayhi salam says, this has become easy on me because it's for Allah. Whatever I have done, whatever has happened in front of me, it's for Allah. Now what happens to Musa alayhi salam? He is found, he's brought to Pharaoh, Pharaoh's wife. She says, I want to keep him. Pharaoh, who wanted to kill Musa, raises him in his own house with his own money. وَمَكَرُوا وَمَكَرَ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. They plan like Pharaoh, and Allah plans. And Allah is the best of planners. If you submit your heart there and you can have safety in Allah, wow, what happens to you? Control is gained by submission to Allah, the ultimate control. I'm not telling you to just start. There are some of us that we think that we just need to say, khalas, I just do dua and just the money is going to fall. It's not the way it works. There's conditions you got to meet for that too. That's not what I'm saying. And it's really a silly argument because everybody knows that you have to try. But at the end of the day, that ultimate submission is to Allah Azza wa Jal. So the first level, control. Second, commitment. Here's what I want you to understand about this. Commitment to what? Please pay attention. I want you to tendency to take what? An active role in events. But I want you to commit to this. Mental toughness is about committing to the truth. Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, he says, وَالْقَوْلِ بِالْحَقِّ وَإِنْ عَزْ. To say the truth, even if it's against myself as a person. So when I go after the truth, and it's me that's in wrong, I suspend my ego. I don't expand it and become haughty and think that I cannot be wrong. No, I submit to the truth. For me or against me, I'm committed to that. Once I do that, I no longer lie to myself. On the inside, I become honest. I'm not a thief of my own ideas because I rationalize them. I don't do that. No, I'm absolutely what? Open. I'm raw. And I say to myself, you did that wrong. You need to change. That leads to self what? Discipline, and it leads to self-development. If I commit something wrong and I don't acknowledge it and I rationalize, that leads to self-sabotage because I'm not working on my weaknesses. I'm working on my what? Something completely else. I don't have a weakness there. I'm not acknowledging that I'm moving away from self-development. I'm actually sabotaging myself because I'm not acknowledging reality and the truth. So commit to the truth. That will bring you to a completely different level. Now, here's always three things that I say. Sincerity in the heart, truth on your tongue, and present the truth through wisdom. Sincerity in your heart, the truth on your tongue, and present the truth through wisdom. If you can get that combination, trust me, your self-esteem, your ability to actually say and move forward, commit to that. So that one thing that you picked earlier, commit to it and say to yourself, I'm done. You're done. Even if I fall again tomorrow, I say to myself today, I'm done. Tomorrow it comes, I make the same mistake again. Then I tell myself again, why? I can't do it. It's okay. I want you to understand, when you have tawbah, which is what? Feeling remorse in the heart, okay? Where you actually feel bad about what you did. When you do that and say, you know what? Ya Allah, forgive me. I'm gonna try to stop, okay? I'm gonna try to remove these things. Now, I want you to understand this. In between the time you commit the sin and you go to tawbah, once you actually do tawbah, meaning that I don't want to do this anymore, you repent. And the next time you commit the sin, that's rahmah from Allah. That space is rahmah. So understand that even if you commit the sin over and over and over, don't stop. Be what? I'm going to go back here, guys. Be what? What's resiliency, right? Right here, be resilient. Go after whatever that is. Go after it. Don't stop. Okay, so now, commitment, number 2. Number 3 is what? Challenge. You need to be challenged. Mentally tough people need to be what? Challenged, okay? This like perception of change as an opportunity to grow and develop rather than a threat. Watch this. It's been studied, and psychological studies indicate that in terms of when someone views a problem as a challenge versus a threat, completely different reality. Okay, when I look at it as a challenge and I'm not looking as a threat, challenge, I feel hope, I feel persistent, I feel determination, I feel like I'm going to succeed. I'm willing to take it on, I'm willing to step up to the challenge, and I can deal with the pressure. What happens if I look at it as a threat? I'm going to back off because I'm fearing loss. This leads to anxiety, depression, and what did we talk about yesterday? That cortisol release. That's what's going to happen. You're going to release cortisol. And once you release cortisol, you're going to be higher levels of anxiousness. Now, what happens when you do this consistently, as we talked about yesterday? Your mind now anticipates the amount of stress it's going to release for you in the next event. And if you're consciously stressed, guess what? Your mind is going to understand you, and you're always going to be on high states of alert, and you become a paranoid person. That's the result. So versus calmness, and then when you can take on challenges of life. Guys, the biggest problem I see is the person, when they are depressed, when they are not doing what they need to do, is they haven't been taught the discipline to take on challenges in life. They don't have the tools to take care of it, to create success beyond the challenge. They look at the challenge and they run. And they have triggers, they develop triggers where anytime their fight or flight system, it turns on. Once they see a challenge, it turns on. And now I'm a victim of life. Everything is unfair, like we talked about yesterday. Everything's unfair. So they look at challenges as threats. They don't look at them as an opportunity to grow and what? Let me get this out. To grow and develop. And we talked about challenges and the way they work. We talked about it yesterday. We talked about taking on the biggest wave while everyone's running away. You take on the ocean, and it's a dance with life. And when you hit it right and you can ride the wave, it's incredible what happens to you because you're riding the wave of life. And this is how you get true success. It's to really understand yourself as a person. Your mental toughness has to be geared towards the inside and telling the self no. وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَافَ مَقَامَ رَبِّهِ وَنَهَى النَّفْسَ عَنِ الْهَوَى. We talked about that not too long ago. Okay, so now challenges. Okay, so number 1, control. Learn where true control is and how to release it. Okay, number 2, commit to the truth. And number 3, challenges look at it as a challenge and an opportunity to grow, not as a threat. All this will create a certain calmness when you are faced with not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 10. You can raise the bar as high as you want. I can take on any amounts of challenge that you put in front of me because I know how to deal with it. Sometimes, guys, life bombards us with not 1 challenge at one time, many challenges, and we can't take on life. We feel like we're going to collapse. This is where depression sets. This is where other things set. Something is taken away from us. We feel the loss. We feel like it's sucking in our lungs and we can't breathe. This is where you have to rise. Inna ma'al usri yusra. Within hardship, there is ease. Allah is going to bring that to you. La yukallifu Allah nafsan illa wus'aha. Allah is not going to burden you beyond your capacity. And we said yesterday, Inna Allah la yadlumu an-nasa shay'an, walakinna an-nasa anfusahum yadlumun. Allah does not burden a soul beyond its capacity, or He doesn't oppress people in terms of even an ought. Allah's justice system is 100%. Allah does not falter in His justice. We falter in our judgment towards His justice. We say, Ya Allah, why are you doing this to me? Please don't say that. Please, I'm not going to go into it, but please understand what you're saying. You're judging Allah's justice. When He is the one who's created you, understand what you're saying before you say it. And if you do it, it's okay. Sometimes it comes out of anger. Sometimes it just, you're in the middle of things and they're like, please, Ya Allah, help me. And He's not answering you. But you think He's not answering because it's your own judgment that's at fault. Please understand that. Don't go too far where you hurt yourself while asking for help. Don't do that. Ask with submission. Ask with a lofty heart. Ask with a smile towards Allah and accept it. Like Imam Ali alayhi salam says, he says, if you were to put me in the pits of your hell, I will still call on you because your hell is still mercy. I'm not going to go into that. That's a whole nother discussion, but understand that. The last thing, guys, is this, okay? Confidence. We talked about that yesterday, okay? And see how all these connect, okay? Strong sense of self-belief. Mental toughness, the epitome of mental toughness is confidence. And we talked about that a little bit, but confidence in what? Like I told you earlier, it's confidence in Allah Azza wa Jal. Athiqatu billah. Meaning that when I'm at a place in my mind that I hit the wall of frustration, which is life. I'm moving, and it's like a red light. It stops me in my tracks. First thing that happens when I hit that light, let's say I'm in a hurry, I become frustrated. Frustration is an obstacle to a goal, meaning it's going to reject you. It's going to stop you. It's going to delay you. That's how it works. So on that level, I have to have the confidence. Athiqatu billah is that I have confidence that whatever I lose, even if I'm in a hurry to go to an interview, I lose money, Allah Azza wa Jal is going to compensate that. You can create that belief. I'm not telling you to lie to yourself or become something that's not what I'm saying. And a lot of people think that way. Why are you thinking that it's going to be okay? Why not? Really, why not? Can you predict that you're going to live the next 5 minutes? Now, I'm not telling you not to be rational. Be rational, but understand, where's faith? Where's the faith that you're going to be okay? The biggest problem that people have is that fear that they're not going to be okay. That creates the anxiousness, that creates the depression, that creates everything. So confidence in Allah Azza wa Jal that He's going to be there for you no matter what. What happens when people become angry with Allah? Because they feel like Allah's system is not fair. That's how it works. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says, an atheist is angry with Allah because they want to judge Him because they think His system is unfair. That's the first thing they're judging. But it's their eyes that cannot see the truth. because their hearts are nowhere to be found in terms of what they should be synced to. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says when he's talking about Allah, he says, وَيْلَكَ يَا ذَعْلِبْ لَا تَرَاهُ الْعُيُونَ بِمُشَاهَدَةِ الْعِيَانِ ولكن تدركه القلوب بحقائق الإيمان معروف بالدلالات منعوت بالعلامات لا يقاس بالحاس ولا and he keeps going on and on and on and on. In terms of that, he's telling Tha'lib, he said, the naked eye can't see Allah. So it's the person who wants to see everything. It has to make, but it's the faith within the heart of true authentic belief that sees him. He says, you think I can't see Allah? This is the way I see him. The eye can't see him, but my heart, when it opens up, in terms of that light that comes into my heart, that creates that security, that creates that confidence when I need it to face the challenge, and then I commit and I feel like I have control, what do you think is going to happen? Let the opportunity come where there's a challenge in front of me that's going to battle me when I own these right here. And I own the confidence. I own the challenge. I own the commitment. And I own the control. What challenge is going to take you on? You become a beast in terms of your own ability in who you are. Your confidence will go through the roof. Nothing can hold you in terms of these kinds of things when you establish these properly. But the number one thing is the thiqah billah, in terms of knowing that what? You're going to be okay. And the taqwa comes literally from that. It's that person who's God conscious. I'm always thinking of Allah. And I'm so confident that I'm going to be okay at the end. That what happens, and I'll finish off with this, confidence is when Imam Hussein alayhi salam stands on the lands of Karbala and he's facing death. He doesn't wave because the principle is too great. Me and you would not have the religion that we have today without the stand of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, without the being able to hold back like Imam Hassan alayhi salam, being able to push forward when Imam Hussein steps up. One brother sets one thing up, the next brother sets it forward. Impeccable wisdom in terms of preservation of a cause. No matter what happens, I want my brother to be that successor of me. But doesn't matter, we're all under the same flag. Imam Hassan alayhi salam was impeccable in terms of his understanding of how to pull back when he needed to. Study history, look at it, understand it, and watch what happens and how you see wisdom being applied for the cause and to sustain the religion. That's incredible. But when Imam Hussein alayhi salam stands on the land of Karbala and he's seeing massacre, everything has been massacred. And on that day, he has the confidence to know that he's beaten the challenge. He's committed to his principles. And he has the ultimate control. Why? Because he has submitted to Allah Azza wa Jal. Wow, that's mental toughness. That can't be shaken. The challenge that he went through, not many men, women, anything, not many people can go through. That's why he had so many people on his side that were just not, so many people in terms of their strength, but so little people in terms of numbers. But they were mountains. Each person was a mountain in terms of their faith. That's where we want to be. And I'll finish with this, guys. If you are in a place where you find yourself like Hur, and you see that life has pushed you into a corner, and you're looking across and you're deliberating, I'm on the wrong side, and my heart knows it, but my mind can't get my body to move towards it. I want you to think of that decision that Hur had to make. One decision. How much mental toughness did he have to have when the confidence, the challenge that he was facing, the commitment that he had to make, and the control that he needed to have over his own emotions, that he says to his companion, I'm picking between heaven and hell. And I want you to think of that decision. Those 2 inches between back of his foot and the horse. I want you to think of that distance. That's all his foot had to move to kick the horse to go across. How far is that distance for so many people that we can't do it? We can't. Why? Because we don't have that toughness. We don't want life. Take on life at that level. I guarantee you what's on the other side are emotions you've never touched. The emotions that are on the other side of that distance of that 2 inches. Kick your horse and watch what will happen in life. You want to see freedom of your soul like Hur? Make that decision and make it now and say, there's no way this life is going to beat me because I'm me. I'm made and I'm a creation of Allah Azza wa Jal. You know how precious you are as a person when you are the creation of Allah. As a comparison to Allah, you're nothing. Fir'aun thought he was something. Look what happened to him. But as a creation of Allah, you are a universe, as Imam Ali alayhi salam stated. So please take the control, commit, have the confidence, okay, to take on the challenge and commit to it, and then move and give the control to Allah and have Him guide you to where you need to go. Guys, I want to thank you for listening. This is, again, for me, I'm honored to be here. I'm going to say again here, Difficult Conversations, get the book. It's an excellent book, 15-year Harvard study, and make that commitment to yourself to better yourself. Download the mental code, get to the emotional code, where then you can make the right decisions and push yourself and drive yourself towards the right things. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll go through emotional intelligence. You don't want to miss that one. And then the following one is going to be about building character. So please, guys, don't miss those 2. Again, take good notes and send me your notes if you want to. I'm very open to it. Thank you guys for watching. Again, the feedback's been great. And if there's any suggestions that you guys want to see, maybe over the next 30 nights or 20, 24, 25 nights in terms of what's left of Ramadan, make your suggestions. I'm more than willing to entertain them. And if there's any questions, please send them in terms of, you could go to the website. Like I told you, I am directly on our broadcast in terms of Mainstay. And please, guys, support whatever you can. These organizations are just amazing. And I tell you that because I'm a product of these organizations. And they are just truly amazing in terms of what they do. And when a person falls in the river of life and they can't get themselves out, they pull their hand out and they give them that. So please support. It's not, it doesn't have to be financial. It could be your time. It could be your thoughts, your ideas, your feedback. That's what we look for. And I'm grateful and thank you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.